Welcome to GBS Deep Dive with Najma Minhas. President Trump in a press briefing last week said that he wants to restart nuclear arms control talks with Russia and China, and that eventually he hopes that all three countries could agree to a massive nuclear defense cuts, hopefully in the region of 50%. There's no reason for us to be building brand new nuclear weapons. We already have so many. You could destroy the world 50 times over, 100 times over. And here we are building new nuclear weapons, and they're building new nuclear weapons. We're all spending a lot of money that could be spending on other things that are actually, hopefully, much more productive, he said. He is, of course, 100% right. There's absolutely no need for further development of nuclear weapons. What we have already is more than sufficient to kill humanity several times over. A fascinating documentary currently on Netflix, Turning Point, The Bomb and the Cold War, highlights how several US presidents have grappled with the reality of the nuclear bomb, from Harry Truman to Ronald Reagan. But John F. Kennedy was particularly vocal in his opposition. While the United States and Russia have held massive stockpiles of weapons since the Cold War, Trump expects China will catch up in their capability to exact nuclear devastation. He sees this happening within 5 or 6 years. And he said he would look to engage in nuclear talks with the other two countries once we straighten it all out in the Middle East and Ukraine. The United States is projected to spend approximately $750 billion on nuclear forces between 2023 and 2032. Now, as soon as he said this, defense stocks that had been higher earlier in the day quickly fell. Shares of Lockheed Martin dropped by over 1.6%. Northrop Grumman sank by 3.4% and General Dynamics lost 2.1%. Trump, in his first time, tried and failed to bring China into the nuclear arms reduction talks when the US and Russia were negotiating an extension of a pact which is known as the New START Treaty. Russia did suspend earlier last year its participation in the New START Treaty during the Biden administration, as the US and Russia continued on massive programs to extend the lifespans of or replace their Cold War era nuclear arsenals. Trump also signaled his interest in denuclearization talks with Russia and China at the World Economic Forum in Davos in January, where he said tremendous amounts of money are being spent on nuclear, and the destructive capability is something that we don't even want to talk about today, because you don't want to hear it. It's too depressing. But convincing Pentagon, the nuclear establishment, and the military-industrial complex to join him in this move will be next to impossible. Trump wants to focus on reducing wasteful expenditures in the United States and focus on spending on domestic investment. And he also believes that Pentagon, with its $1 trillion budget, has huge swathes of wasteful expenditure. And we know that Elon Musk, what is otherwise he's known as his first buddy, as he's becoming known, has tweeted several times that the United States is wasting money investing billions of dollars in hardware. As he says, manned fighter jets are obsolete in the age of drones anyway. Winning battles more and more does not require the 1930s and 40s and 50s style military hardware. Battles have moved on into drone warfare, cyber attacks, even space militarization. Interestingly, the same F-35s that Elon said were a total waste of money, that President Trump, ever the amazing salesperson that he is, has persuaded the Indian Prime Minister Modi to buy these during his visit to Washington last week. So let's take a closer look at the three countries' military spending and how seriously should we take Trump's words. Please do subscribe to the channel, as your engagement will help YouTube push it out to other people who may be interested in the content. As of 2024, the United States, China, and Russia are the world's top military spenders. The United States far leads the pack globally with a defense budget of approximately $916 billion in 2023, accounting for around 37% of worldwide military spending. It makes it the world's largest military spender, exceeding the total military expenditure of the next 8 countries combined. China's official defense budget in 23 was around $296 billion, which represents around 12% of global military expenditures. Of course, when accounting for purchasing power parity and unreported expenditure, China's defense spending is actually significantly higher. Remember, the same dollar will get you far more things in China than in the United States. But even with this, we're looking at China being around half of the United States budget. Russia's military spending reached approximately $109 billion in 2023, so it comprises around 4.5% of global military expenditures. This figure actually reflects a significant increase since 2014, around 57%, because of course, the Crimean War that took place at the time, and now the Ukrainian war as well. The United States is the world hegemon and has a global military presence around the world. As of 2024, the United States maintains approximately 750 military bases across more than 80 countries worldwide. Now, this extensive network supports its global strategic interests and its defense commitments, including NATO, AUKUS, Quad, and so on. In addition, the United States also has bilateral military agreements with over 179 countries and over 172,000 active military personnel deployed in over 177 countries and territories. Now, this is aside from the 1.2 million men and women that are stationed in the United States itself. All of this helps to extend the reach of the United States military power far beyond what we can see from its nominal spending numbers would suggest. Now, in contrast, China has a minimal overseas military presence, with only one official foreign military base, which is located in Djibouti, which was established in 2017. Djibouti is located at the entrance of the Red Sea, which is a critical choke point for global trade, which leads to the Suez Canal. And approximately 12% of global trade passes through this route and makes it a vital artery for Chinese imports and exports. The base actually began during a period in which piracy was a big issue in that region, and China set up initially to protect its commercial shipping from pirates. Interestingly, Djibouti also hosts several other foreign military bases, including the United States military camp Lehman, which is the country's only permanent base in Africa. Russia is said to operate in around 21 military bases abroad, primarily in the former Soviet Union states, and in other few strategic locations such as Syria. Now, the latter is under threat since the ouster of the Bashar al-Assad government in the country. There are 9 nuclear-armed countries in the world: the United States, Russia, the United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, and North Korea and Israel. And when it comes to nuclear weapons, even today, 90% of all weapons are either American or Russian, and they together possess around 10,500 warheads between them, around 5,000 plus each. China is estimated to possess around 500 warheads, so currently it has 1/10 of what the United States or Russia do, while the United Kingdom, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea are jointly believed to have around 1,000 between them. One of the world's most reputable institutes that monitors military spending, the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, otherwise known as SIPRI, is said that the states have increased their spending on modernizing their atomic arsenals by 1/3 between 2023 and 2024. Imagine a 30% rise between the 2 years, 23 and 24. And it had not seen such nuclear weapons playing such a prominent role in international relations since the Cold War. The report also found that the effects of the wars in Ukraine and Gaza are visible in almost every aspect of the issues connected to nuclear armaments, disarmament, and international security. Throughout the Ukrainian crisis, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued several statements regarding the potential use of nuclear weapons, both as a deterrent against Western intervention and to assert Russia's own strategic posture. For the United States to remain the global hegemon, it feels, and to some extent is largely true, that it needs to maintain the most powerful and technologically advanced military in the world. But it also does this not through its bases, but also through its alliances. Previously, NATO used to keep a check on the Soviet Union, and now Russia. The AUKUS and the Quad both are being maintained to keep China in check. Additionally, The United States is investing in modernizing its nuclear arsenal and enhancing cyber warfare capabilities to ensure its primacy in this area. In comparison to the United States, China's military strategy centers on regional dominance, particularly asserting its influence in the South China Sea over Taiwan and the East China Sea. China's defense policy emphasizes deterring foreign intervention in what it perceives to be its territorial interests and projecting its power within the Asia-Pacific region. So the Chinese are focused on anti-access area denial capabilities, something that's called A2AD capabilities. And given the importance of water in this equation, China has significantly focused on increasing its naval power, as well as developing advanced missile systems. Now, in the case of Russia, it simply prioritizes maintaining a strategic parity with NATO and exerting influence over its near abroad. Its military strategy basically includes modernizing its nuclear forces and enhancing rapid deployment capabilities. And having realized that it cannot match the spending in real hardware, it's focused on integrating hybrid warfare tactics, such as cyber operations and information warfare. Now, the increased defense spending we've seen in Russia since 2014 aligns with these strategic objectives in retaining the strong Russian-speaking borders, which are also now evidenced in Ukraine as well. But for US defense strategists, being a global hegemon means it should also be a regional hegemon as well. So, for example, China cannot and should not have control of the South China Sea or the East China Sea area either. So how seriously should we take President Donald Trump? His proposal has got varied reactions from the international community. The Chinese government has acknowledged the proposal, but emphasized that the United States and Russia possess majority of the world's nuclear weapons and should take the lead in significant nuclear disarmament before expecting other countries to participate. Additionally, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson pointed out that China maintains a no first use nuclear policy and that its nuclear capabilities are kept at a minimum level required for national security. By contrast, the Biden administration in 2022 amended the long-standing no first use policy. Russia has not acknowledged his latest statement, but earlier officials expressed skepticism about the prospects of extending the existing nuclear arms agreements, such as the New START treaty, especially in light of current geopolitical tensions. However, this may change if the summit that's wanted by Trump with Putin and Xi takes place. Now, this proposal has also raised concerns among European leaders, who fear that such negotiations might lead to reduced US defense commitments in Europe, potentially compromising their regional security as well. Now, interestingly, President Trump threw out this suggestion, and it probably was exactly that. If you put a bet on it, that the Pentagon or even Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, would have even had a clue about it, you would probably win the bet that they would have no idea what was going on. The United States is currently investing heavily in modernizing nuclear capabilities. The 2025 National Defense Authorization Act under Biden further increased military spending to approximately $900 billion, reflecting a commitment to maintaining a robust defense system for the country. There is a strong lobby on defense as well within both parties, and it's not going to be easy to win them over, for all of Donald Trump's words. There is a massive bipartisan consensus that China needs to be militarily curtailed to ensure that it does not conduct a war over Taiwan. Do share your thoughts on whether his proposal has any merits or chance of happening. Thank you for reaching this far, and I hope you will share the video and subscribe, and do press the bell for notifications so that you are informed when each video comes out.